Yeah.
First of all, that's news and somewhat remarkable news, Taoiseach, that the Housing Subcommittee did not meet in advance of the very significant and, in my opinion, hugely retrograde decision that you made in the bill that is now passing through the Dáil, which is going to open the door for a resumption of evictions into homelessness in the middle of a pandemic. I mean, I actually find it quite extraordinary. I don't know if the government doesn't understand, or worse, does understand what the implications of the bill that's now going through the Dáil. But let's be clear, it removes most of the emergency protections that were put to prevent people being made homeless and evicted because there is a public health emergency. That public health emergency still exists, and people who are made homeless now will be, their health as a result of the pandemic will be imperilled, and you will be responsible. And you haven't even discussed it at your housing committee. That's quite extraordinary admission on your part. And I would ask the government, even at this stage, to pull back from it, because the number of people presenting from for homeless services has dropped and dropped dramatically because of the ban of evictions, on evictions. A ban, by the way, when People Before Profit put a bill to ban evictions in the last Dáil, Fianna Fáil supported it. So I do not understand why you are now supporting a plan to lift that ban on evictions into homelessness in the midst of a pandemic, where it is really unthinkable to put people on the street, into shared accommodation where they're more vulnerable to the virus, or into overcrowded conditions where they're also vulnerable to the virus. The other thing I would just ask very quickly, Taoiseach, because just walking around Dublin City during the pandemic, I met an elderly woman from the south inner city, and she said, will you please go up and look up off Ainger Street, where there is literally a whole row of beautiful old buildings that are run down and are just empty. And she said, it's absolutely shocking. There are people in my area, including my kids and grandkids, who need to be housed, and look at that. Some landlord is sitting on that and it's empty. And that story is repeated in town and village and city across the country, where landlords, property owners, vulture funds sit on property empty that could be used to house people, I mean, really taunting the people on the housing lists, and nothing is done about it. Have you any plans to go on an aggressive campaign of getting hold of hoarded land, empty property that could be used to house people impacted by homelessness, and more generally the lack of social and affordable housing, so that we get that property, get it into use to help address the dire housing crisis?